Boom! Good afternoon, welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this afternoon. It is, we're going to talk about the inevitable. Dave Martin is all cool. We all get a bit heated the night after the day before type thing. Do you know what I mean? And it is what it is. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, right. Let's get into it. Celtic haven't said a word, have they? Really, as you would expect. When it comes to Cameron Carter-Vickers, he's confident. He is confident that we can get the job done next week, next Tuesday. The club have a game this weekend. The players would have had the day off today. Let me just double check this. Why is that? Oh, that's fine. When it comes to... Yeah, it's all good. When it comes to... We've got another game. It's on to the next game. It's an important game this weekend against Livingston. And... the board have fucked us over. Seems the main consensus. It does seem the main consensus. It's a big message to parts and support. Why the fucking is anyone going to listen to Peterborough? Celtic news-wise, there's nothing about any signings still, and it would have been an interesting call. I mean, I wonder if Brendan Rodgers was even in at Celtic Park today. Time for a glass of wine, says Michelle. Yeah, they did that. Right, let's just get into it. Who wants to come on and chat? Who wants to come on and let me just make sure I've got the scenes set up. Why are the board doing this? And I don't think the board are doing anything intentionally. I don't think that the board are doing anything intentionally. I can't see it. What a night this is, Kieran. Danny Cassie is in the house. He says that I'm going to say that the board need to give Brendan the cash. I don't think it's so much the biscuit tin mentality. Chilpill's on, but he's driving home. Yeah, probably a bit early for trying to get people on. Brooks says after last night, the board won't budge. Do you? I was watching an interview. This is where it gets scary because I do think that. Yeah, he did have a look at that wee on Sham, but this is where it gets scary. I was watching an interview this afternoon, and it's with a guy that I don't really personally like anything that he does, but he's the top man at the BBC for Scottish football. You know who I'm talking about, Tom English, and he said that he thinks the next Celtic manager will be John Kennedy. How do you feel about that? Would you have John Kennedy? I fucking hope not. I mean, he's way off the mark. He was on an Irish podcast talking about Scottish football, talking about Celtic, asking how the Irish boys were doing. But I don't think that interesting one because box the board. Right, let's get some people on. Let's get on and chat. Where is... I need to click on... Yeah, Tom English is a clown. I know he is. He's just a complete clown. Right, let's see if we can get on this afternoon. there is the link. I'll put it at the top just now. No undesirables, please. That's what I hate about putting out a public link, because if it's a big risk, but it is what it is. We'll wait and see if anyone comes on. So AR says, Baz, me and my son go to games when we can. Last night was the final straw for me. The guts of 85 quid for 2 tickets. No more. My hard-earned cash will be going to that poxy board. Michelle was the best part of 400 quid for her tickets last night. What was that one? AWS, what a ball bag you are. That's one way to get banned for the channel. And see ya. Is it not subscribers only setup? YouTube. Just double check this. Customization, subscribers, yep. You get porn bombed. Be careful, Baz. Nah. I don't think so. I don't think so. For his POS guest. Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Channel activity. One comment, One comment. Saves up his one and only comment just to get banned for 24 hours. Don't care what English has to say about Celtic. He's anti-Celtic. Yeah, he is that, isn't he? The board would make McGregor player-manager to save money on his contract. Don't say that. Don't say that, because that would just be an absolute nightmare, to be honest. No chance tomorrow English isn't Celtic friendly, but Sean Maloney, watch this space. Sean Maloney is the next Celtic manager. That gives me the fear, to be honest. But you could understand why Celtic would do it. You could understand why he would do it. And maybe Brendan's been sitting with one eye over his shoulder. But I think if Sean Maloney was to come in and be... Let's just stop talking like that, because do we need a change of backroom staff? Let's do a poll instead. Now, Brendan Rodgers is not going anywhere before the end of the season, I don't think. Right? But if BR goes... if Brendan Rodgers departs Celtic, should the backroom staff... If Brendan Rodgers departs Celtic, should the backroom staff go? Also, that's the poll question for this afternoon. If Brendan Rodgers departs Celtic, should the backroom staff go also? This is the backroom staff that have been around for a long time. John Kennedy's been here the first time Brendan Rodgers was here. He's here this time. He was here under Ange. He was here under Neil Lennon. He's Mr. Consistent at Celtic. He is the one consistent thing that is there no matter what manager. Do you know? And that gives Celtic that what they call stability, and they do call it stability, and having thus allowing managers to come in and you know, do whatever. They'll change tactics, but the reality is the training's pretty much the same. Everything's the same. John Kennedy still does it. John Kennedy doesn't. Do you know? He can only do so much of what the managers want him to do. And last night it was completely toothless and powerless. Maloney has no record in management. Well, he does. Do you know? He's got more of a record than what Neil Lennon had when Neil Lennon took over the job. I mean, you can't say that he's not got a record. He does have a record, but he's got records as number 2. And he's got records at the likes of Hibs. But I understand what you're saying. Last night's side was completely toothless, zero firepower. But that's always going to happen when you sell all your best players and you're not going to replace them. But when you look at the players that have left Celtic over the years, over the last 24 months even, you know, you can't decimate that. And then you've got to bring in... Everyone was talking about Yang last night. Yang was the next best thing. It was only about 4 weeks ago that Yang was wanting away from Celtic to go to Norwich. And we're forgetting that. You're not telling me that in the back of his mind, Yang is sitting saying, yeah, I'll be fine. He's already said he wanted to leave Celtic. Backroom staff and the board have been there too long. Maloney approach is Celtic playback approach like Lenny and the showers. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that day. Jeez. I'm testing the water from OnlyFans channel. Even though it is one that we did before, you can call in. You can call in if you're brave enough. If you're brave enough. And any more nonsense like that, you'll get banned as well. Baz, if we win next week, where did that one go? No, they will still be sold. Dyson wants away. You can tell with his performance last night. He's still away. Even if we win the game, Dyson's away the next day. Davey's trying to call Baz. He needs to have Google Chrome. Tell him to put Google Chrome through his phone. Got to have Google Chrome installed by the looks of it to get it to work. There we go, Dave Morton's coming in. Alright, he's in the green room, and I'll just add him to the screen. It should be on. And he's not there. I'll just add him again. There we go, Dave. How you doing?
Hello, Baz.
How's things?
Not bad, not bad.
Right.
Still a bit raging for last night, obviously.
You were at the game.
Aye.
Tell us your experience of the game last night.
Shocking. First half slow. Too many touches the ball. Liam Scales a car crash.
Yep.
He's definitely a car crash. Get rid of him. Baz, have you heard anything about this Max Johnson?
I was just checking for echo. Right, on you go.
Have you heard anything about Max Johnston?
No.
He's maybe able to come to say like 2 million to cover for AJ.
Cover for Alistair Johnson.
Aye, that's
Well,
a bona fide thing, you know what I mean? But I
the
can't
thing is
spend
it,
2 million on
there's
replacement
echo.
for him.
That should be the echo off now.
Aye, is that alright?
It's dead quiet.
Is that good?
Yeah, you're a bit quiet though, but it's AR says it's one of the worst games. Right, from start to finish, how do you feel that we did?
From start, first half, shocking. Second half picked it up. But we were lost. See, Adam Ida last night, to me, it looked as if he didn't want the ball. He was too scared to touch the ball in case he get booed.
Yep.
That's my fault in him. And I think he should be banned the first man's out the door. But I know Brendan's going to leave at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's definitely happening. But for this talk about backroom staff, Stein, probably John Kennedy as a manager. See, to be honest with you, if I was going to look for another manager after Brendan Rodgers, I would go for that St Mirren manager, Robinson.
You think so?
Aye,
I don't think there's anybody in Scottish football that I would. There's no one in Scottish football that I would have as the Celtic manager. Joseph, turn your screen down. Wait a minute, it's cool. I'll turn you down. It's cool. I've muted you. It's cool. It's cool. When I come to, I'll turn it back up when I come to you. How do you feel the atmosphere was last night at the game?
Bad.
Yeah.
Aye, definitely.
What part of the ground were you sitting in last night?
I was in the upper tier of Jockstein. Right, but see, to be honest with you, see, I left 10-15 minutes before the finish. Right, you were saying last night,
Aye.
a good Celtic, no, a good Celtic fan doesn't leave. It's just that you shouldn't leave. Right. I went to leave at half time, to be honest with you. It was shocking. It was dross.
It was that bad you wanted to leave at half time?
Aye, at half time. The only reason I never left is because my boy paid the tickets. I never left. If I bought the tickets, I'd have been away. That's how bad the performance was.
That's how bad the performance was?
Aye.
I
just seen Alistair Johnson going down that, didn't he? I thought he get fucking elbowed or something yesterday. Last night at the game. I thought he get elbowed. But as the extent of his injury, it's not come out and said anything yet.
It's a hamstring.
Is it a hamstring?
Yeah, it's a hamstring injury. He'll be out for
at least 8 weeks anyway.
He'll be out until Christmas.
Man.
So he'll miss all the Champions League games.
If we get there.
The majority. If we get there. If we get there. Right, Joseph, you're frozen. Let me bring Joseph in. Joseph, have your say. What do you feel about the game last night?
I was going to listen to it, actually. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you, yep.
Okay. I was going to listen to the commentary. I actually joined in the conversation, actually, on the commentary. And I just said, it sounds like they didn't give a damn. It's a classic case of doing like a goal and they'll take it from that, you know. But what you said, Barry, last night about the board, and we can't sack them now. But money talks. The old adage, money talks, money talks. So I'm not saying don't buy season tickets anymore. My season ticket holder myself, but I don't know what the answer is myself, actually, honestly, Was Vegas did what he did in 1983, that seemed to be a one-off thing, Hey, you hear me, right? You know,
yeah, I can hear you fine, yeah.
Yeah. I just don't see myself talking. So I look at myself right in the phone, I don't see myself talking, I don't know. What I was going to say there was, we could be in a hell of hole then, trying with this mob. Very similar to the Whites to Kellys. Barry, your dad would have told you, probably your dad, maybe your granddad, who knows, back in 78, right? You don't go back, I suppose you weren't even born then, were you? 78, were you not?
I was born in 78, unfortunately, yep.
Were you?
Aye.
You weren't? Were you born 78?
No, I was born.
78?
No, it doesn't matter when I was born. Just go.
Okay.
Fuck's
Okay.
sake.
Your dad, your granddad would have told you about Desmond White and Desmond White,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Desmond White. Okay, so my dad once told me Desmond White says, Joseph, Desmond White is an ogre. He's an ogre.
Yeah.
He's a guy. He's a guy who forced Jockstein down to Leeds. If you remember that, he
Yep.
forced Jockstein down to Leeds, and so on. And that you remember the very. I'll call it an infamous photograph. An infamous photograph of one of the Celtic books. It showed Billy Neal a very, very uneasy handshake with Desmond White at the time with Jockstein behind him. You remember that
Yep.
photograph at all? No, remember very, very vaguely. Remember that photograph?
Yep.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's still obviously black and white photograph. And my dad said to me, Joseph, that sums up the situation there. That sums it up. That sums up the situation there. Jokes, apparently Disney White gave Billy the old tuppence to pay.
Yeah.
He was spending barely £100,000 a player, £100,000. And quite a few of the Lisbon Lions were still alive at the time, of course. They're still alive at the time, the Lisbon Lions. And they said Billy's spending pennies. Compared to Rangers, he's spending pennies. He needs to
Yeah.
get his act together, That was then. But bet the old that so we didn't much live, of course, back then, of course, obviously. I
Yep.
mean, but bet the old and Tommy Game was saying Billy's spending pennies compared to Rangers spending pennies. But that was it. That was his first time out as manager back in '78. And that was it. So it took 10 or so years to realise that Desmond White was just an ogre. So he
Yep.
was an ogre. That's it. On you go, on you go.
I'm just looking at some of the comments coming in. There was a comment I got earlier on Twitter, guys I was talking to. He said that he can see Maeda leaving. It doesn't look good, and he's actually starting to worry about the league this season. Are we
Yeah.
seriously starting to worry about the league this season? Because
So-
we're two
so-
games into the league where we've not conceded really. We're in a fine place when it comes to the league. Unless we start dropping points in the league, is there anything to really worry about? Because I mean, when does the conversation then start?
I've already,
The
Mick, somebody. I've already said Hibs will be a big danger. They were a big, big danger. I've already got them finishing second easy. They are by far the most improved team easy over the past 2 years. Easy. That guy's doing a hell of a job there. One hell of a job, it really is. One hell of a job,
Yeah.
that guy. Yeah, manager there. I've got his name. I've got his name now. So, he's doing a hell of a job there. I've got Hibs. I'm convinced Hibs will finish second easy, and maybe a big, big threat. A big, big threat. There will be when we beat them that. When we beat them that cup tie at Celtic Park. It wasn't until that second goal went in. I think I've already sent a message to you about that thing. I sent a message. I said just relief when that second goal went in at Celtic Park against Hibs that cup tie last season. I was relieved. I sat there and said,
Yeah.
thank God that didn't go, because if they'd have scored an equaliser, that says we're done. Because they were more than matching us easy. More than matching us easy they were. I said, if we passed Hibs in this cup tie, I said, that's us. The cup's as good as us. It really is. Little did I forget that Aberdeen had a different another answer. That Aberdeen had something to say about that. So, and we just ran out of legs. What your old pal Kaiser, he's convinced Aberdeen deserved to win that cup final. I disagree with him totally. I think we beat ourselves. We beat ourselves in that cup final. We beat ourselves.
Definitely,
Something like that.
we definitely beat ourselves in the cup final. It was our cup final to lose. It wasn't Aberdeen's to really win. I mean, we give the cup final away. But Dave,
Aye.
being at the game last night, how did you feel that the atmosphere was, and what was the general chit chat within the sort of stadium regards fans?
Well, within the area I was sitting in, it wasn't pleasant at all.
No.
It wasn't pleasant at all. No, there was moans and groans, and it was every 10 seconds, more or less.
Yeah.
I swear to God, Baz, I'm not kidding. I'm a diehard Celtic fan, right? I was just, see if it was my boy paying per ticket, I'd have left at half time.
Yeah.
If I left at half time, I was fucking raging.
Yeah. I love it. Says, for me, Rodgers underestimated this team big time. I think a lot of the Celtic support underestimated them. I didn't. I mean, there was nothing surprising in the way that they played last night. The only thing surprising for me was the fact that Celtic were so bad at the start. They were absolutely woeful at the start. I go back. I mean, Liam Scales right now has got a get out of jail free card because he covers as a centre back and a left back. So that's what gets him a get out of jail free card just now. But when he starts taking 3 or 4 passes with the ball, when he starts taking 3 or 4 movements with the ball, that then filters down through the team and everyone starts to think, well, what can he see? He's looking up the pitch. What is he seeing that we are not? What is he seeing movement-wise? Why is he being so cautious? Do you know? And I think that filtered through to the team. How do you feel about that, Dave?
Aye, definitely. It was 1 step forward and 3 steps back.
Yeah.
First half. But going back to the point earlier about the league, see the league, it'd be a dramatic fall for grace badge for us to lose that league. But the treble, I'm not too sure about.
See, when it comes to the league, right, I think that we would ultimately... Alistair Johnson's out, right? Let's look at the reality of the situation where we are. Although Adam Idah scored 20 goals last season, it doesn't look like he could score in a brothel if it was prepaid. and that's the reality. You could give him a prepaid card to go to a brothel and say, there's a grand for you. Go and have yourself some happy fun.
Aye.
And he would come out going,
He's not bad. He's not bad.
I got the fear. Nothing happened. Do you know what I mean? It could almost, do you know, it's he couldn't go through with it. And it seems to be Brendan Rodgers said after the game last night, Brendan Rodgers said, look, I wanted him to be, well, I said it before the game, stick Adam Idah in the 6-yard box and tell him, do not come out.
Aye.
Just run about the box. Make it fucking, you know, just be a pain in the ass. What is it, Joseph?
I don't know how Idah gets a game. I don't know how Idah gets a game. I don't know. He does nothing. He does nothing. He's
the only recognised striker that we've got, and that's the fact.
He's doing that. I'm going to take you back to him again. Back to 1984. Back to 84. The English media with John Barnes, or Liverpool John Barnes. He scored a goal against Brazil back in '84, and the English media, the guys in video, the video 5, etc. They said he's living off that goal. He's living off that goal. He is living off that goal. He gives you even Ireland, but he does nothing. He's done that since '84. John Barnes, and he said he's living off that goal. And I believe Idah is living off that goal for 2 years ago. The cup final, he's living off that goal now.
Not really, because he scored 20 goals last season.
He's still very average. He
scored 20 goals. He wasn't. How many times? Right, no. How many times last night did Adam Idah fluff a shot? Go to you first, Dave, because you were at the game.
I can count it in 2 hands.
No, but seriously, how many times did he fluff a shot last night?
Oh, plenty.
No, he didn't. He didn't even get one shot.
I've got to keep saying this all the time. He looked to me last night as if he was scared to get the ball.
Aye, but the question I'm asking, right? The question I'm asking is, how many attempts and shots at goal did Adam Idah have last night?
I think he did any.
Exactly. You've got to give him the service. So we can all shout about Adam Idah being really bad, but if you're not getting the service in, there lies the problem. It's not just Adam Idah that's the problem.
No, I know that.
We started the game last night. We had we played with 3 different strikers. As it stands just now, we've got 1 right back at the club, and that's Tony Ralston. We've got a left back that can't play 90 minutes. We failed to bring in a left back to cover Kieran Tierney, and we can all agree that was meant to happen. We've never done that. We now need to go and get a right back to cover for Tony Ralston. Now, whether Celtic go down and you can't go down the road of bringing the young 18-year-old in with no Premier League experience, never mind Champions League experience, into the club, because we're going to get hammered at every level, absolutely every level. Dave.
But that team,
You're talking about Colby Donovan.
Yeah.
I rate the wee boy, but no, definitely no.
You can't
fire.
You can't use him.
No.
You can bring him in and say he's backup for SPFL, but you can't bring him in and hope to make it better for the Champions League. We need to go in. We need to dive into the market. We need to dive into the transfer market for well, we're getting some sense on the call this afternoon. That would just it's in the green room. Why is your volume? And she's just hung up. That was the quickest call ever. Joseph, you're the last man standing.
oh, that's my standing. I still hearing the ball. Good.
I can hear you now.
Okay, Liam Scales, very average. I don't know who he's very. Oh, somebody, Vlasic, Here we go. Lassie here. Here's Lassie. Oh, well, here we go.
Calm yourself. Right, wait a minute. I'll come back to you in a minute, Joseph. Michelle.
Hi.
You were at the game last night.
Yes.
How was your experience of the game behind the goals?
Pretty bad. It was horrible from start to finish. It was a complete waste of money.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Even if I just paid the normal standard tickets, it was just the worst game of football I've ever been live in my life.
Right. How do you feel? I mean, what was the chat in the area that you were in at half time? I'll say, because you were in an exclusive area.
Exclusive area, as if I'm some posh. Yeah. There was a rather lot of swear words coming out. I think there would be more if there was, in fact, there was loads of children. But it got to the stage of the only entertainment at night was that heavy medical guy who was running back and forth, who got probably more airtime than Alistair Johnson did last night. Yeah. He was like the only time keeping us going. We were cheering. Everything else got booed. Every time he came on the pitch, we were all cheering.
Aye, it was that bad.
That's how bad it was. But we tried to keep the spirits up as best as we can, but it was pretty bad. Hold on, I need to mute the actual screen around here. Yeah. So yeah, no.
Was there any? I mean, there was no plus points for anything last night. Players that came on in the second half. Do you think that? I mean, everyone's going on about Yang. Do you think that Yang's the answer?
No.
Because I mean, it was only 4 weeks ago that he was on his way to Norwich, and we paid to that deal.
The first 5 minutes he came on,
yep,
it was absolutely amazing, and then it's like he just ran at batteries and he was back to the Yang that we all know.
Aye, unbelievable. Right, Joseph.
Why you go back? What's the question?
I'm just trying to see if there's anybody else wanting on. Not as yet. Joseph.
Aye, on you go.
I mean, you've seen many managers over the years in your grand old age.
Yes. 62 Tuesday. 62 Tuesday. 16 Tuesday. Yeah.
Of all the managers, and Brendan Rodgers statistically has been one of the longer term managers at Celtic. How do you feel? What's your gut feeling about this season?
Well, we should win the treble. Apart from the one thing I already said, Hibs are that massive opponent. They are massive opponent. They are, and if we beat them in the final, it's far from cutthroat, far from it. They will give us a hell of a game in the final if we get to the final. They will give us a hell of a game. That team is fabulously drilled. They are fabulously drilled. They're drilled. They're wonderfully drilled, that team. They're wonderful. And I'm convinced they will beat Hibs. They will beat Rangers. I'm convinced they will beat Rangers right now. could not be more of a shambles. It couldn't be more of a shambles. They're terrible. They're terrible. That is, and a Rangers supporter could ask me tomorrow or whatever, said, how bad Rangers do? I said, they are shocking. They are shocking.
I'm not
That
really
is-
want to talk about them because
okay, fair enough.
that's the last thing on my mind. Michelle, how do you think that the transfer window might go over the next? What's your hopes for Brendan Rodgers in the transfer window, Michelle?
It's weird because we all know that Brendan Rodgers clearly wants to sign as many people as possible, but it's really not going to happen. I mean, we need a miracle. Like, how many days have we got left? Less than 10 days? Or
Yeah.
what, 10 days?
Yeah, 10 days.
I think going by reading online, I think Jamie Vardy's going to be a definite, and it's going to be like the surprise last minute signing that kind of Luke McKim was. But I think if we're lucky, we're going to sign. I'm going to go for 2, maybe 3.
I still believe we'll sign 4 players. But I think we now need 5, considering we now need someone, because going with Tony Ralston between now and the end of the season, for me, would be a disaster.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Fair dues to him. Obviously, he plays like loads of internationals and stuff like
Yeah.
that, so fair. But then we're so used to having him as a backup, and he'll still play international games, and he's there if we need him. So now he's going to be doing twice as much work as he usually does.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a pretty much a shit show. I know that somebody's been saying that we're looking at bringing somebody in from the B team, but I don't think that's the answer at all. But then somebody said to me last night in the stands, and I read in the chat last night, Rio Tati apparently can play right back.
That's you're no wanting Rio Hitati going back the way.
Rio Hitati over.
I mean, even Brendan Rodgers said last night. He says we played so many players out of position last night. So many players.
I think I sent you last night or this morning.
Aye.
How many different did we play?
Yeah. I'll see if I can get that on the screen. In fact, so we started off during the game. We had 2 different centre back pairings. We had 2 different left backs. We had 2 different right backs. We had 3 different right wingers. We had 2 different left wingers, and we had 3 different strikers. That's not a successful team. That's panic stations, because Brendan Rodgers has even said it before. He said that for any successful team, you need a solid back line. And do you know what? I'm actually at the stage where it's like I'm going to text Greg Taylor's missus on Twitter and say, go and tell Greg we're sorry and go and come back. So, you know what I mean? It's like, on behalf of the Celtic support, sorry, go and come back, mate. And because I think it's, is it true to say that we are a shadow of ourselves this season so far, Michelle?
I just don't. It's like a completely different team to start this season. Obviously, last season we went so many games without conceding goals. We're doing absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like we had a bench that could come on and potentially be the first team. Just nothing last year. And I loved Greg Taylor. I was a fan of Greg Taylor, so I would happily take him back. But I just don't know what I'm watching. I feel bad for talking about other teams like Rangers and stuff like that, but I feel like we're kind of turning into what Rangers were like.
I think that the fan base are at a point where, I mean, I was talking to guys that were at the game last night that have went for years, guys that have been guys for the boys and a guy from the Green Brigade, and they said that the atmosphere on European nights is now a myth. It's something that goes back to 2013 and 2014, 2015 at a push. Do you know what I mean? The atmosphere last night was terrible. They said it was one of the worst atmospheres that the atmosphere doesn't help the team in any form. Is that what you felt last night?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a downer. There was points where we were trying to kind of cheer them on, get into the feel of things, but then it was just seemed to be one mistake after another. And we got a couple of boosts to start again. But somebody's asked me in the chat about singing about sacking the board. At that point, it started over at the Green Brigade, and it just slowly made its way around, and it just went solid 2-3 minutes, just and then it was just boos like everywhere. Maybe no as far around the game with the boos, but it was just, you could just feel everybody just was having enough. And at that point, you could see people, they're walking out about 20 minutes early. Like the first half, I had that injury ages, so there was about 5 added minute time, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Even before, by the time it started, the stadium was empty. Like people were leaving. It was not a good atmosphere at all.
It's where does the fan base go from here? I mean, this is the. There's no. It's okay booing at a match and saying sack the board. It's not going to have an effect. It's not. We're not back in the 1990s. You know, you're not going to get mass demonstrations outside. Everybody's got one thing in their mind after a game, and that's leaving early, get to the car, and get away to hell home. You know, it's different back in the day. You would say to the bus driver, or it was all folk for Glasgow. It's like, right, round the front of the stadium, we're going to have a big fucking thingy at the board. It's not going to really happen, that is it? So
we went into the game expecting. Well, I certainly didn't expect to go into the game to pump them after. Like we've all watched that game last week. Completely. But I expected us to easily score 2, maybe 3 goals. Just nothing was happening. Nothing at all. So it was weird because I think we've got to the stage now we just expect Celtic to win and score goals all the time. And because we expect that so much, when nothing happens, it's even more horrible feeling to watch, and we get more angry. Well, if we were kind of used to that, we'd maybe kind of lay off them just saying they're having a bad day. But I just don't get what happened last night. It's like the team had just met each other 10 minutes before we went on the pitch.
Yeah. Snowball says, Baz, it's the middle class people in the stands in football, not a working class game anymore. Snowball, you're pretty much right about that. It's not really working class. I mean, Joseph, you'll know all about working class over the years at Celtic. How do you feel that the current Celtic fan base is compared to fan base of a bygone era?
Fan base is, I think we'll be forced to pay money which would be outrageous to our dads and granddads. If I told my dad what I was paying to watch something now, he would need to sit down. We need to sit down and say, tell me you're joking. Say, Joseph, tell me you're joking because I don't believe you're paying that to watch something now. 600.
Yeah.
I've been asked for £600 to watch something now. £600. My dad would not believe that. By the way, quick message to you, Barry, quick message to you. My neighbour there, to celebrate my Christmas, my birthday Tuesday, my neighbour came up with something to take me. My neighbour did pass me a minute ago there. I said, tell me about that song. Tell me about that song I'm with you. It's called The Ballad of Joe Stanton. It's a song of Stanton. It's some of Pondus do. If I can, I'm going to try and see if we can send it to you. Okay, I'm going to try and okay.
Right.
It's real rebel stuff. It's real rebel stuff. I can't believe that. I said, Joe, I did it myself. I said, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. There you go. It's called The Ballad. I'll try and send it to you. Okay.
Right, no worries. Right, I'm going to get back to just the normal screen. Thanks for all your calls this afternoon. It's where does the fan base go from here? That is the sort of the next question. If Brendan Rodgers departs, if Brendan Rodgers does depart, who do we bring in? I don't think that Brendan Rodgers will depart over the course of the next few weeks or few months. What I think will happen though is if we win by the skin of our teeth and if we get through to the Champions League, will that be the time that Celtic will come out and spend the money? And then if they do come out and spend the money, is that just papering over the cracks? Is it just papering over the cracks of what's going on underneath? Because all we're doing, if we spend 10, 15, 20 million in the next 10 days, does that not just put on Are we covering the cracks to the next season? And then what happens at the end of the season when Brendan Rodgers does walk away? Have they started succession planning already? I mean, Brendan Rodgers might not walk away. Celtic board might have fallen in love again with Brendan between now and October and might offer him a new contract if we do fantastically well in the Champions League, which I highly doubt. When you see players like Callum McGregor coming to the end of his career, James Forrest coming to the end of their career, it's a changing of the old guard. And it's a change that we're going to have at Celtic that is not going to be as smooth as any change of team over the years, because there's no succession plan on the pitch. Whatever you think about Callum McGregor, is the Celtic captain, and rightly so he's the Celtic captain. Kieran Tierney cannot see out 90 minutes of a game. That's not Celtic captain material. He doesn't have the authority on the pitch. With no one that can naturally take over as Callum McGregor's successor. And I think that's the worrying thing. People spoke about Alistair Johnston. He plays on the, he's out. It's going to be a hard season. It's going to be a season where it could be so good if the board just spent the money. But then it's also got the potential to be a season that if the board do not spend the money, and if the board do not get their finger out, it will be the manager that will face the bullet. It will not be the board that moves on. Peter Lawwell will not leave his job. His right-hand man, Michael Nicholson, $500,000 a year, he's never leaving that job. The payoff that he would get would be unbelievable. Dane Murray to be the next captain, but that's one for the future, isn't it, Rab? That's a couple of years down the line. And will Dane Murray want to be at Celtic as long as Callum McGregor and James Forrest? I think that we're coming to the end of an era with Celtic players and players that will devote their life to Celtic. I can't see anyone at the club that will ever be one-man team like Callum McGregor, like James Forrest, like Tony Ralston. Stephen Welsh wants away, so don't include him in it. It's a hard decision that Brendan Rodgers has to make, because he's the one that's in the firing line just now. And he spoke in the interviews yesterday. As long as he is here, he's the one that faces the questions, not the board. And whilst he's here, he's happy to do that. I think that it's a damning indictment of this current PLC that we don't have players that have wanted to come through the academy and force their way into the first team, solidify their place in Celtic history by being fantastic players, and then maybe even doing a Kieran Tierney and move on for big money. It's just not going to happen. And whose fault is that? Is it the manager for not having the proper pathway into the team? Is it the board for not paying youngsters the going rate? But Brendan Rodgers has come out and said that it's a bit of players want everything in this day and age. They want it right now. They want the fame. They want the money. They want the Lambos. They want the Instagram lifestyle. But they're not prepared to work for it. And maybe that's what's wrong. But there's one thing for sure. Over the next 12 months, we're going to go through changes that we haven't seen at Celtic since the 90s. Over the next year, with the likes of James Forrest hanging up his boots, Callum McGregor with only 2 years left on his contract. Callum McGregor might do an Aaron Moy and go, do you know what? I've had enough. My body can't take this anymore. And you would be well within your right to just do that. Without the younger blood coming through, the Celtic people. Now, these guys here say that they're Celtic men. Yes, they may be Celtic men and they may be Celtic daft, but they're also at risk of harming their legacy. Whatever Peter Lawwell thinks his legacy is, whatever Brendan Rodgers thinks his legacy is, whatever Dermot Desmond thinks his legacy is. Dermot Desmond, the man who turned around and said to a journalist, how many trophies have Celtic won since I took over? There's one thing that we do know, is we need players of a quality to come in that can be our next superstars. And right now, we don't have many of that. Anyway, thank you for all your calls this afternoon. It's been an absolutely fantastic little insight to people that were at the game last night and Joseph Davidson. On that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.